Alrighty, I think I am live. I am live. So first I want to tell persons, if you are hearing me and seeing me, let me know. It's saying that I am live, and I want to make sure that I am live. So good morning to everyone. Let me see. All right, looks about right. If you are hearing me and seeing me, just let me know that you're hearing me and seeing me. If you're not hearing and seeing me very well, also let me know. I am live on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. So let me know if you are seeing me live, guys. Okay, I'm seeing I'm good on Facebook. And I'm also seeing that I am live on LinkedIn. So I am going to assume that we are pretty live on all our platforms. All righty. So good morning again, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I kind of excited, and this is my first live for 2025. It's a little late, but we're gonna kick things off with leadership and culture. This is an important live here. I feel here in the Caribbean because we are such in a space where culture is impacting sales, culture is impacting marketing, and this is a space I want to chat about, with you here today. So again, we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm seeing a little error message. I was trying to go live on X and Twitter. It doesn't look like I'm live there, but we will go ahead, right? This morning, I have a colleague of mine that is an expert in the leadership space, right? He and I share some similarities in that we have spent many, many years in education and academia, right? And he's a leadership coach. He is also a consultant. He is from the beautiful Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I'm so excited to have him on for us to discuss a little bit about leadership and culture. In fact, I want to go back a little bit in terms of why I decided to sort of have this as one of the first lives, right? I am in a space where I chat with and speak to a lot of managers in sales, in marketing, as well as in the entrepreneurial space, right? And I've found that whether it's a startup here in the Caribbean or we're talking about large firms, conglomerates, Fortune 500 firms in the Caribbean, one of the challenges I see is really culture. Culture impacts the marketing teams in terms of their level of creativity, innovation, and the level of autonomy that they feel that they have within their teams, right? And then, of course, sales. I mean, that is a team that really requires persons working aggressively towards sales targets, and culture impacts them as well. So that was my mindset behind this particular discussion this morning. And so I want to welcome on screen with me now, Dr. Davies. Good morning, Dr. Davies. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Julie. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm doing well, and I trust that you are doing well as well.
I am. I'm excited to have this conversation. Again, I'm going to throw out for persons. Let us know where you are joining us from. If you are joining us from here in the Caribbean or anywhere around the world, Of course, LinkedIn is a pretty large platform for me, and I do find that I get persons from Australia, persons from the UK, persons from the US. So I'm glad to know. Let me know in the comments where you are joining me from, of course. Um, and of course, this is, I'm saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because it depends on where in the world you are joining me from. So, Dr. Davies, I kind of hinted a little bit about you, but if you can introduce yourself to our audience here today, that would be great. So, I give you the floor.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And hello to everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you today and to have this very important conversation with my colleague, Ms. Julie. When we think in terms of where we are in life, we sometimes reflect on where we have come from. I'm originally from the Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, in U.S. Virgin Islands, grew up between both. And right now I am traveling. I am currently in the Washington, D.C. area in the United States, and on to some other meetings as I serve on a number of boards. But when I think of the work that is before us and the opportunity for us to be able to grow and to uplift each other, I see that as a region and as a world, it's important for us to understand each other, understand the idiosyncrasies that exist from individual to individual, and be able to see what brings the best out in each one of us. I've served in regions across the Caribbean region, in Trinidad, many of the islands, and Jamaica, here in the U.S. mainland, and different places. And my work has taken me by travel to various parts of the world. So being able to interact with people and colleagues from a global perspective and to bring that knowledge and that information home is very important. Thus, the motto of and the vision and the mission of Orion Consultancy Services, going worldwide to bring excellence home. It's great to be here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm actually putting your link for your LinkedIn page in the chat. So if persons want to connect with you right there on LinkedIn, they can reach out to you. So let me start. Let's start with some of the challenges I see. Right. Of course, a culture is culture is a big thing for organizations. As I mentioned, I have specific interests in sales and marketing teams, of course, but organizational culture to me in the Caribbean is a challenging one, and it impacts a lot of the a lot of the KPIs and a lot of the goals of the organization, right? So I want to start by asking you, what are some of the strategies that organizations should perhaps, or maybe let me just say 2 or 3 strategies that organizations should begin adopting if they want to foster an environment of a positive culture that, of course, will impact the organization in a positive way?
All right, thank you very much. Great question. There is something referred to as cultural intelligence. Cultural intelligence. So by that I mean within the workplace, within any organization, we are all different people, different individuals, and we are impacted in lives and our daily interactions in various ways, depending on what may be occurring in our own lives at any particular one point. We may respond in one way, and from another perspective, things may be different. And so it's important for us to recognize that people are different. But what's great about this is there is so much value in difference, where we're able to bring together to the workplace various views, opinions, perspectives, that would allow us to get the best possible product at the end of the day. And that's why it's important for us to be engaged from a cultural intelligence standpoint within the context of planning the strategy for the organization.
Right.
An organization without a strategy is like a ship without a sail. It's like starting at one destination and hoping to get to another, but there is no real plan, whether you're sailing, you're flying, you're driving, or you're walking. And organizations would not really succeed under such circumstances. So having a strategy in place from the standpoint of first a plan and incorporating the input of all individuals across the organization in the development of the plan is very important and crucial to the success of the organization. If it is done by one person, or if it's done by a consultant who comes from outside of the organization, and they have views and opinions and ideas, and we just speak to a few individuals and then write a beautiful plan, the possibility of that being executed is almost just about nil. But
Right.
when you engage everyone within the organization, not only from the CEO to the VPs and others, but also the environmental technician, the gardener, those who know more about the institution and what's happening than those who may be leading. Because in most cases, the people closest to the floor know
Yes.
more about the organization at any one time than the CEO himself or herself,
Right.
because they know what's happening within the culture, and they are better suited to be able to give guidance. So listening to them, their views, their experiences, their successes, and making sure that they are contributing to that plan is key. Next, you want to make sure that there is a strategy to execute the plan. Many times we talk about strategic plans, but they're usually two separate areas.
Yes.
One is the plan, all right, and the other is the strategy. The strategy implies a logic. How do
Right.
we go about from our strategic standpoint to ensure that we have the edge on another entity or a competitor when it comes to providing the service that we have before us? And getting those ideas again from individuals all across the organization augurs so well in ensuring that the plan is carried out, because people will now be saying, this is our plan, as opposed
Right.
to this is Haldane Davies' plan. He wrote that, and thus let him implement that himself. No, but
And
this would be
that too, eh? And we get that a lot. Yes.
right. But this is our plan as we go forward. Now, always be ready to make strategic adjustments along the way.
Right.
And those strategic adjustments are so important, because I recall meeting with Father Theodore Hedgeberg, the president emeritus of University of Notre Dame, Indiana. He held the world record at that time, several years ago, of being one of the world's most prolific fundraisers in higher education. He would raise about 120 million US dollars a year.
Wow.
And I wanted to know some of his secrets. So my advisor arranged for me to meet with him, met with him, another colleague on the 13th floor of the Hedgeberg Library. And I recall one thing as we stood together. He said to me, Haldane, make movement wherever movement is possible. Yes, you may have a plan. It's a great plan. And the logic may be there, but movement may not be possible. The timing may not be on your side for any one particular item at any one time. So if you hit a roadblock, don't give up and don't stay there trying to move that roadblock.
Yes.
Work on something else. Eventually, that roadblock will be removed. And the final thing, the third thing I like to say about this is the whole matter of culture depends a whole lot on empowerment of the team. Team members need to know that they have the authority to make decisions. As I say to various people, and I've had over my career, serving in various roles, even up to serving as president of a university, with many individuals reporting to me. Yes, when you come to me with a challenge, come also with a solution.
Solution.
Right. Come with a few ideas. And I may be able to add some to those. I may say, man, those are so great, I didn't even think about those. You go right ahead
Yes.
and implement. And so when people know, realize, and understand that they have the ability and the capability to be able to represent an organization well and to feel proud about their representation, they will go overboard to ensure that the customer is served, that the intent and purposes of the organization are well represented, and as a result, everybody gains and everyone wins. It's a altogether gain for all actors and all players across the organization.
You touch on so many things. You touch on so many things there. One of the takeaways for me is creating that engagement, right? Or creating the buy-in, right? Because some organizations see training and these types of strategic things that take place in an organization. Sometimes it does get executed at a high level, right? A managerial level, a C-suite level, and it doesn't have the buy-in. And many times they say exactly that. Oh, that was the consultants. That consultant did that, and that's not my plan. I don't believe those things, right? So, I think empowering persons and getting them into the discussion is also important for our organizations to be able to be successful, right? And I love the fact that you mentioned that impacts at the end of the day the customer and the customer experience, right? So that it's all tied together. And sometimes we don't see it as individuals or persons within the organization. So that kind of leads into the other question, which is many times, of course, as managers and C-suite executives, we have goals, we have targets, we have things we have to achieve for the organization. There is a pressure for the organization to be profitable, to hit particular goals. But how can leaders create a better balance in having those goals and then cultivating a culture and doing exactly what you mentioned there, which is create a better culture, create better employee engagement? Because at times, business goals kind of supersede the need to build the cohesion. But really, if you don't have a cohesive team, then you kind of struggle with hitting those numbers. So how do they begin to balance that? How?
Great. Traditionally we've heard the statement made, the customer is king.
Yes.
I have a different take on that. I believe the associate or the employee, the staff, that person or those persons are those who are really kings and queens in an organization. Because when we take care of the people within the organization, across the organization, they will then take care of the customer.
Yes.
And I have spoken quite extensively to that in my book, Service Beyond Words.
Yes, I have it here. Yes.
Right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Because people want to know that they are valued.
Absolutely.
One of the key things that I've practiced throughout my entire career is, in addition to being a person that does not go out to promote myself.
Right?
Other individuals do that. Grant other individuals the opportunity to do that. My goal is to promote others. As I say to my various teams that I've served over the years, my role here is to help you shine, to help you stand on your tiptoes and to see beyond the horizon that you can presently see. I want at the end of our interaction for you to be so well equipped that you can take over from me at any time. And that would not be an issue for me at all.
Wow.
And that's the course that I've traveled throughout my life, making sure that as much information as possible is passed on to those around me, to give them the opportunity to grow, to develop, to ensure that there is budgeted expenses for professional development annually, for them not only to be able to go to an internal workshop, but to travel and to interact with people from different countries, different backgrounds, and to grow and develop and see what else is there. These are the things that impact people, and these are the things that people remember.
Yes.
When we care for people, they will go all out to ensure that they represent the organization well and that they are well positioned to strategically contribute to the collective output of the organization. One of the other things is listen to understand. You know, so often we find ourselves listening to answer.
Yes.
And we're not really listening to what the person is saying to us. We just want to get our word back in and
Yes.
say, yeah, but.
Yes. I say listen to respond. They just listen, they're ready to respond. Yes.
Correct. So we'll need to understand what that person is saying, what they're expressing, and to see the value in what they're saying. And if there are adjustments that you think or I may think that may be suggested, I would suggest those in a way that is mindful and thoughtful, not in a judgmental approach
Yeah.
or in a derogatory manner to really discourage that person, but to ensure that the ideas that they bring to the table are valued, and to see how we could collectively work together to sharpen them even more, and to see what else is important and key to the success of the organization. People also need to understand, those of us in the C-suite, that it's important to devolve autonomy to the individuals around us. There is no value in being a micromanager. That is a no-no and a failure and a representation of a failing organization.
Yeah.
If you're going to invest top dollar to hire people with the capabilities and the capacities, and then you turn around and manage them to tell them what to do every day, there's no value. They're not going to stick around.
Agreed.
You will lose that value. But if you respect what they bring, let them know your views, your opinions. Let them know the value of the organization and what they should know about the organization from organizational intelligence standpoint. Let them fly, let them soar, let them mount up with wings as eagles, okay? So that they can really expand and demonstrate that that capacity lies within them to be able to move the organization along. And when those victories come, I recognize them. I say, look, yes, this is a great victory for the organization, but I'd like to highlight our leader at this point,
Yes.
who is, whether it's Jim or Jill Harry or Peter or Mary or Hannah, whoever that person may be, if they would be the star and we celebrate that victory. And if anything goes wrong or haywire around that particular project, as leader, I accept responsibility for it. Because I am the one at the end of the day that is accountable and responsible to the board, to the community, to ensure that things go well in the organization. Yes, we will have a post-mortem of that situation within the context of the organization and see what we would need to do to ensure that going forward, we're able to avoid this. However, that person will have that prudent conversation, but at the same time, I accept that.
Right.
So when you think in terms of the ability to execute logically, people would have the plan from the C-suite standpoint that everyone contributed to its development. It'll give them the authority, the autonomy to run with the plan, to execute it, and have meetings at set times to report on progress so that we can see exactly what's happening. If there are challenges, if there are roadblocks along the way, we'll talk about those and see what else could be done to make adjustments as needed.
I think you bring up a good point there in terms of, I think people micromanage, because they feel a sense of, they feel a sense of pressure that, hey, if anything goes wrong with me and my team, I will get blamed, right? And so they micromanage in order to be able to kind of make sure that nothing goes wrong. But I'm hearing what you're saying, which is creating a space and a dialogue for persons to feel safe, to be able to say, okay, let's try, or let's collaborate, let's come up with ideas in order to make things better. Because I could take back from my own experiences, right?
Mhm.
Where I worked in an environment where there was a lot of team building, there was a lot of collaboration. And so I felt, even as a manager making decisions, I felt like I had the support of my team, because the decision wasn't just mine, it was my team's decision, right? And at the same time, I also felt as though they would give 110% or 2000%, because they were part and parcel of having this happen. They also understood the pressures that I had, because I had to sit in a boardroom and I had to explain why we have these targets and these customers and so on. And so I think I think the absence of that safety, right? And I guess and that will play into the next question a little bit. The absence of that safety is why people micromanage. But I've seen both sides, and I've seen persons who micromanage as well to not be able to balance, all their responsibilities, because now they're micromanaging each member of their team. So they're not strategic enough, and I just see it as I still see and hear that is a challenge.
Yeah, it is. It is a challenge, and what happens is you have the duplicity of effort,
Yeah.
because a micromanager is not only doing his work but doing the work of every other member on the team,
Yep.
and standing over them to ensure that at the end of the day that there are certain goals met.
And that's stressful. To be
Right. It is. It is.
good. Yes.
Correct. It is stressful, and it places a lot of stress on the members of the team.
Yes.
And as a result, they are not able to perform as well as they are capable of performing. So it's important for us to realize that We are here as humankind to make meaningful contributions. We're not here to pull people down. We're not here to micromanage them. We're not here to give them a sense of fear within the context of the workplace. Those are signs of insecure managers, people who are afraid, who are fearful, who are weak. You know, we see a lot around us, even globally, right now, of people who claim to be strong, but all you're seeing is blatant weakness, weakness throughout everything, without the capability or the capacity to really be strong. Strength comes in humility, and that strength is something that is developed. It is something that evolves. Because once we're able to grow that and to grow people, that strength comes and we're able to ensure that there is success along the way, where everyone has the opportunity to feel, you know, even though I may not have performed as well today as I know that I'm capable of performing because of certain other circumstances that may have been out external to the workplace, yet at the same time, I don't feel as though I am being let down or being spoken down to, because there is value in the workplace.
Yes.
It is so important for us to know what genuine strength is and to practice it.
Okay. So I'm going to touch on that because that to me speaks to a level of emotional intelligence that that managers and C-suite executives and CEOs should possess. So let me ask you, what role do you feel emotional intelligence plays in leadership? And of course, how is that impacting? I mean, we've sort of hinted on it. How does that impact? Or how does that help to cultivate a positive organizational culture? Because I think we've touched on that. Persons are fearful, they fear speaking up, they fear sharing in teams, they fear being disciplined. You know, and employees can have wonderful ideas, but if they feel that they are not in a safe space, then they won't share. So that level of emotional intelligence, I feel is important. But can you touch on that in terms of the role that emotional intelligence plays in impacting leadership and ultimately impacting culture?
Certainly, emotional intelligence is so important. It is a key ingredient to the success of any organization. And maybe I'll touch on a few things with respect to this particular question. The first is the development and presentation of sound and good social skills within the context of realizing that we are each other's keeper, as it were, within the context of the organization. Whenever I have a conversation with my staff, I want to know, first of all, how are you doing as an individual? We're not talking now about goals of the strategic plan or budgets or timelines that must be met. How are you doing? How is your well-being? How are you as an individual? And if they have a family, how is your family? How are the children? Are you getting enough time to go and go to them to a sporting event, to an activity that's not work related? Or are you being bogged down at work and neglecting those opportunities? When people realize that you genuinely care about them, their well-being, a different situation develops.
Yeah.
Because here's someone who genuinely cares about me, not just about the workplace and our goals and our financial targets and all of these things. Yes, they're all important, but he wants to know that I am positioned, or she wants to know that I am in a place where I can really perform and perform well. And then there's the whole aspect of empathy within this matter of emotional intelligence, because it's important for us to seek to understand how other people feel. Sometimes we may be caught up in our own cocoon and figure that we are all that, and there is nothing else or no one else besides us.
Yeah.
But there is so much happening around. Like I said to others, I was speaking not too long ago at with a group of student affairs leaders from a major institution, and it was maybe close to 200 of them. I said, look, even though you listen to that introduction about me, I'm just an ordinary guy, because the more I learn, the more I realize how little I know. And I'm going to be learning so much from you today that I'll be able to impart to others. And even though we'll be sharing a lot of what I've learned already with you, I'll be learning from you, from your questions, your interactions, your submissions, to be able to help to inspire other individuals. So understanding others and their feelings, their views, their thoughts, their expressions, they may have different backgrounds.
Right.
People come, we live in a global village right now, and people in our organizations come from all over the world, and they have different things that are unique to them, and we need to be able to understand and to respect those. There are some of these things that are cultural, some of them are religious, some of them are social graces and all the rest as to how people do things and interact. And for us to be able to learn that, I recall many years ago was making a trip to the East, the global East,
Yes.
and we went through a sensitization. Within the West, we want to get quick decisions right away. Within the first couple hours, it's either a yes or no, or we're finished with this. We take that attitude to the global East, we have finished ourselves, because the first couple of days is just socialization, getting to know and
Wow.
understand. For them to develop that confidence and trust, is this somebody that I really want to do business with? Can I interact with this person? Or is this person just looking to make money on me or off me?
Right.
So it's important to understand those differences, even among the people in our organizations,
Wow.
so that we could be sensitive to them. And then there's what I refer to as self-regulation, where we express ourselves in ways that are prudent and responsible.
Yes.
Usually if someone may say something to us to hurt us, the natural thing is for us to say something to them that will do what? Hurt them. Within the whole matter of mediation, there is a certain approach that I've used over the years. And we don't have time today to talk about climbing conflict mountain and all of those things that would lead to the resolution of conflict, where we serve one conflict and bring about peace, one item at a time, one issue at a time. But it's where, instead of responding in a retaliatory manner or form, we could respond in a conciliatory manner or form, where you may say, look, yes, I fully understand that you're hurt. And I hurt also. And my approach and the language and the tone of my voice may not have been the best thing, and I am sorry about that. And thank you for your patience. That de-escalates
Yes.
within the context of expressing emotions in a healthy way.
Yes.
Instead of listening to hit back,
Mm-hmm.
listen to understand, and breathe deeply,
Mm.
swallow hard before you respond.
Yes.
Or take a drink of water or a sip of water. If it's
Mm-hmm.
email, you may
Mm-hmm.
draft the response, but don't send it.
Mm.
Leave it in draft form until the next day after you relax and cool down a bit. And
Uh-huh.
then you go back to that and you change different things about it.
Yes.
And it is presented in such a way that is non threatening, it is so welcoming that
Mm-hmm.
that person who was so ferocious is now ready to be your champion
Absolutely.
because of that understanding between both of you. And of course, there are other things we can talk about, like self awareness and motivation, but I
Yeah.
think I'll stay there for now.
That's wonderful. It reminds me my grandmother used to say to us, don't make decisions in anger. She always used to say, it doesn't come out well, right? And that's, I guess, from her lived experience, right? But she always used to say on that, just don't make a decision when you're upset, right? And I think it was some good advice. Um,
Certainly, certainly.
So I'm going to open up the floor for anybody who wants to put in any comments or questions. And at the same time, Dr. Davies, I have your book up here, Service Beyond Words. And what stood out to me in this book was the idea of servant and servant leadership, which is something, a philosophy I've kind of grown to like and love now, within that sales and marketing space. But can you tell persons a little bit about the book, as I put a link for them to be able to get it off of Amazon? But tell us a little bit about the book and why you decided to write the book.
All right, thank you. After spending many years in various leadership roles in various organizations, it occurred to me that the experiences gained and learned should not remain with me. And being able to present them, whether through a presentation or in some other form, may be good. It would be good to document
Right.
some of those experiences, some of those interactions that I've had throughout my travels, throughout dealing with various colleagues and in organizations. And thus, that was the motivation for the book. Within the context of any organization, our goal is to perform to the best of our abilities.
Right.
And what the book does is it demonstrates and shows how we can do that in a meaningful way. As I reflect on my time as a member of the Board of Examiners of the Baldrige Program, which is a program across the United States, the award is presented and granted by the President of the United States. And it was quite interesting working with colleagues from across the nation. It was not, first of all, an easy thing to become a member of the board. It is
Mm.
highly competitive.
Yes.
It's only about 470 of us from across the country. I served for a number of years, but I no longer serve on that board. But when I look at how we examined organizations and those that did well, those are organizations that had a strategy. Their leaders were thoughtful. They were involved and fully engaged, not only in the organization itself, but also in the community. There
Mm.
was a strategy and an approach to deal with customers to make sure that they were satisfied. Processes within the organization must be well developed and operated in a way and in a manner that will bring about meaningful and great results. The whole matter of measurement, analysis, and knowledge management, again, was another area of importance that we looked at. The results of all of the surveys taken throughout the organization, all of the analytics used within the organization to be able to improve, and how those results are being used to bring about improvement is key. But one of the other key things that really stood out was workforce. How do we have a great organization without a great workforce? And within the context of this book, Service Beyond Words, I speak quite a whole lot to the engagement of the workforce, to people being a part of an organization that will allow that organization to thrive. An organization there could refer to any entity, whether it's a business entity, it's non-profit, whether it's religious, if it's in healthcare, if it's in other areas of life, in education or whatever avenue, even in your own home, in our own homes.
Yes.
The strategies to be able to help us grow and excel and to succeed, what is part of what's recorded there. I'm working on the second one.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. I'm working on another book right now. I won't say too much about it to whet your appetite, but look out for it.
All right.
And you will see the topic. I wouldn't state the topic right now as well. Okay. But because I need to make sure that all of the copywriting and everything is fully in place first, so that we'll be able to move forward with that. But being able to reach out to other individuals and organizations and to assist in making presentations and making the book available, I think is very important, and my goals moving forward. People have encouraged me, and I'm thinking about it, doing a audio version of the book.
You're right. Yes.
Right. That should be coming out in the next few months, as soon as I can get around to it. I'm still debating whether I will be the one narrating myself or have someone else do the narration. So that's one of the things that I'm still debating within my mind, as well as creating an online course that individuals can access.
Yes.
That's also in the pipeline, to be able to make this information available to as many people in as many forms as possible.
Absolutely.
Live, in a live context, as well as in a self-directed learning context as well.
Okay. Well, you have to keep me updated, of course, because I think we need definitely a part 2 of this. Because leadership and culture, it's infinite. we could talk about it. You just mentioned the fact too about conflict and being able to resolve that, and I think that on its own is a space where we have challenges here in the Caribbean, and I'm sure globally as well. All right, so as we wrap up, Dr. Davies, if you can tell persons how they can get in contact with you, how they can work with you. I did put in your LinkedIn link, and I did put in the link for the book. But tell persons how they can get in touch with you and how they can work with you. Yeah.
All right, thank you. I can be reached on our website, orionconsultancyservices.com.
Right.
You go there, you can see me. My contact information is there. It'll be Haldane Davies at orionconsultancyservices.com. And I'll be more than happy and willing to respond with the various services that we offer there. In addition to the book, we do quite a bit of work in economic development, economic impact studies. I don't think it's something that we engage a lot on across the Caribbean region. We do that in a number of other spaces across the world. And although I've done some of those, a number of impact studies for organizations regionally, but we need to be able to do more
Yes.
so that we can see the impact that organizations have on their communities. And we'll be able to run those numbers for you, do the analysis, and give you that. If you like to have a full story about the organization, we can do that as well. So as to ensure that as the information goes forward, we're telling a story about the organization, monies invested, and the impact, direct, indirect, and induced, that those dollars have had within your particular community. So also the whole matter of conflict resolution, that's there as well. We offer those services, and together our goal is to ensure that we are able to be the best that we could be and to share what knowledge we have with as many individuals as possible. And I look forward to further engagements. Thank you so much, Ms.
No
Julie,
problem at all.
for this opportunity to.
A wonderful conversation.
Right, it's certainly a pleasure, and
Yes.
I truly appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and thank you for the work that you do. I see you quite often on a regular basis on LinkedIn,
Yes.
and you're really getting the word out and doing a great work. I truly appreciate you, and continue to do what you do, because at the end of the day, what really matters is what we're able to do to help others along the way. And
Absolutely.
that is what I am about. That's what Orion is about. There is no value of being here in this world with the short time that we may have. We don't know when life may be cut off from any one of us. Just yesterday, I got word of a former colleague who passed away suddenly.
Yes.
And I don't know when my time may come, and none of us may know,
We
but it's
don't know.
important for us to do our
Yes.
best and to ensure that we live lives that are in order with the prime mover, the
Yes.
one in whom we believe, whoever that may be for us, because it varies from place to place, from person to person. But be the best person that you can be, not in your own strength, but in the strength of the Almighty. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time, and we will have a part 2 for sure. I'm gonna get those topics together and send it from you. I wanna shout out. I had Lisa on. I think I lost Mr. Davies there, Dr. Davies. I think I lost him. He left. Lisa, I want to just say hi to. I saw Lisa there. I believe Lisa is from right here in Trinidad. Right. I just said, oh my goodness, I lost you, Dr.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm back.
I'm just shouting out some folks who came on. I hope it's Iobe. Iobe is from Jamaica, and we had Lisa from Trinidad. I want to say thanks so much for joining us and for joining me on all of those platforms. We are live on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, and maybe another two. I'll have to check those, but for right now, thank you so much for joining me. Next week, we have another session on leadership, but we're going to talk a little bit about sales leadership. And of course, we'll be live here again. Thanks so much, guys. You all take care and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.